Hey, it's Crystalline. I decided to make this video to just explain my experience so far. I feel it's important to share. As many of you know, I am a nurse. I work in the hospital in Manhattan. So you already know that I have not been quarantining because I've been having to go to work. For the last couple of weeks, my life has consisted of taking the Long Island Railroad, taking the MTA subway, going to work, and then coming back the same way, or my wife would drop me off in the car and pick me up in the car. So in that sense, I have been maintaining social distancing from my friends and loved ones since this whole thing started. If you've been following me, if you've been reading my posts and my stories, then you already know how I feel about how the United States, our healthcare system, and all the hospitals have responded to this crisis. So I'm not gonna go into that. I'm just gonna go into what's been happening with me personally, because I think this can help some people. So if you don't know, I've had asthma since I was a child. It's pretty well controlled. However, being asthmatic, being a nurse on the front line, working with these COVID patients, I pretty much knew I was at high risk of getting the virus. So it wasn't a matter if I would get the virus. I knew it was a matter of when will I get it. I did not think that I would get it so fast, so early in this battle that we're in. If you know me, you know that I'm a hard worker. I never call out of work. I'm a team player. And in a time of crisis, no matter how scary, I'm there. About a week ago, I did have a breakdown at home because I was terrified that for me being high risk, I was terrified of getting the virus. And I was terrified that it would trigger my asthma and I would have no choice but to go to the emergency department and be admitted and be alone. And it's terrifying to think about that. But I knew that I still had to go to work. So when I was told that we wouldn't be getting N95 masks, etc., that the CDC had changed the recommendations and that they said that there was no longer airborne, that it was only airborne if it was a trach patient or a patient that was intubated, or a super spreading event, that we could wear regular surgical masks, etc., I panicked. I panicked because nobody knows about this virus. This is new, right? Nobody, honestly, if it wasn't airborne, how is it spreading so fast? Whatever, I'm not gonna get into that. I was nervous, so I brought my own N95 mask to work the following day to make myself feel better, to make myself feel protected in working with these patients. And in a matter of days, we went from no COVID patients to a unit full of them. And one by one, our staff members started to come down with symptoms. And it just became very chaotic, scary. And it just felt like nobody really knew anything and we were out to fend for ourselves, honestly. That's what I had started taking my vitamins, staying hydrated, everything. I was diligent on hand hygiene and trying to protect myself and my coworkers and my patients, despite the crazy things that we were being told to do with reusing masks and things of that nature. So on this past Sunday, I was working. They raised the temperatures on my job because some study says that in higher temperatures the virus can't live. So they began to raise the temperature at my job, and it was pretty warm. So now think about it. Now it's warm at the job and you have to gown up and wear these masks all day. I'm going in and out of these patients' rooms. So I was very hot. I'm asthmatic, so I kept having trouble breathing, but I noticed that I felt like there was a weight on my chest. Like I couldn't take a deep breath without truly like gasping for air, and it hurt to breathe or to take a deep breath. And I just thought all the reasons I just said about the temperature being hot and all the gear that we were having to wear, I just thought that's what it was. We have like a little balcony on the top floor, so I would go up there, try to get fresh air. But this feeling just wouldn't shake. And after speaking with some coworkers who were feeling similar symptoms, we kind of said maybe it's anxiety, because we're just so anxious and scared all the time that's probably what it was. So I kind of just said, okay, yeah, that's what it is. Monday, I'm going back to work. I wake up, I still feel the same. I go into work, it's a crazy shift. Tensions are high, people are scared, people are terrified actually, and I'm busy working, when I realized I started to develop a little bit of a sore throat, and I'm thinking, oh, I need to hydrate more. So I drank more water, but it really wasn't working. I developed a dry cough at work that day on Monday, and kind of ignored it because I'm working. By the time, and I'm still having this chest pressure, difficulty breathing as well. I get home and I realize, I don't feel good. I take my temperature and I have a fever. My job actually has sent out an email a couple of days before saying that starting Monday, this past Monday, that they would start to test employees who were having symptoms. This is Monday night that I'm having this coughing, fever, shortness of breath, chest pressure, and I developed a severe headache all around. It felt like there was a band around my head, just squeezing my head. I took Excedrin, took Tylenol, nothing was really helping. All right, so I text my wife all of this, and she tells me, okay, we're going to get you tested. Tuesday morning, my wife gets home. She checks my temperature. I still have a fever. She checks my oxygen saturation, and it's a little low, in the low 90s. And she realizes that I'm having a little bit trouble breathing. And we call my job and set up an appointment to be tested later that day. This was Tuesday. I went, I got swabbed, which was the worst experience. If you've ever had a flu swab, it's similar, but worse. It kind of feels like they're sticking this Q-tip into your brain. So they tell me my results will be ready in about 24 hours. Yesterday comes, and it wasn't until the afternoon that I received a message saying that my results were uploaded. And I check, and I tested positive for COVID-19. I go back to how I was feeling a week ago, and I start crying, obviously. And I'm crying for different reasons. I kind of knew the results would come back positive. I would be a little bit shocked if they weren't. But to see the results and then to speak to a doctor on the phone telling me you are positive, it was like every fear that I had about this whole crisis, like, just slapped me in the face. So, I'm home. I'm quarantining myself, doing treating my symptoms. I'm resting, I'm trying to stay hydrated, doing what I have to do on my part to try and avoid going to the emergency department. My biggest fear is my asthma. So I do have my rescue inhaler. I do have a nebulizer machine, and I have my pulse oximeter that I keep checking periodically. I have my thermometer, which I'm checking my temperatures every couple of hours. I'm taking my vitamins, and I'm taking it day by day. I guess I made this video is because I want people to know that, especially healthcare workers, that they should listen to their bodies. For 2 days, I kind of just thought, these are just some anxiety symptoms. I'm okay, and it wasn't. just listen to your bodies, especially for those of us who have high exposures. Again, my symptoms started Sunday, very vague, like just like this chest pressure. By Monday night, I was having severe headaches, a cough, body aches. I was still having that chest pressure, a fever. Like, it happened so fast, so fast. Today is Thursday, and to be honest, I can't even go to the front of my apartment building to walk my dogs without feeling winded, without feeling like I'm gasping for air. And that's a terrifying feeling, to feel like you can't breathe. But for the most part, I'm okay. I'm home. I'm gonna be resting. I was supposed to be on the beach today. I was supposed to go on vacation today. Haha. So my wife is actually home with me now, and she's also a nurse. So I'm very well taken care of. If my symptoms were to get worse, she already knows what to do. But I am not going to be moving from my couch or my bed until I begin to feel better. And I'm going to avoid any activity that can exacerbate my asthma or make me feel winded. I'm always emotional. I cry for anything. I cry for happy, sad, mad. Like, I just always cry. To my healthcare workers, if you're feeling any of those symptoms that I mentioned, maybe you do want to get tested. And I know that testing has been so hard to come by, and I am grateful that my job finally decided to allow us to be tested. I wish I did it sooner though, because I just feel like those 2 days that I was working with symptoms that I was thinking was anxiety, even though I was trying to be safe, I still feel guilty that I probably exposed some of my coworkers or some of my patients that don't have the virus. So I'm just hoping that I didn't do that. Sorry, my video got cut off before. The last thing I was saying was how I just hope I didn't expose anyone at work or my patients. So now I'm home. I'm resting. I'm taking care of me. And I have my own nurse at home, so I'm okay. That's been my experience. Hopefully I get better soon, and I'll return to work in a couple of weeks, and hopefully things will be better, or there'll be better systems in place to help us deal with this crisis, something. But unfortunately for now, I have to just focus on my health. And it's really hard for me to step back, especially in a time of crisis. But I know it's what I have to do. You can message me, text me. I'm gonna be resting. All I do is sleep all day because I'm exhausted. If you don't hear from me, don't panic, please, especially to my family and my close friends. I'm probably sleeping. You can reach out to Cynthia, my wife, who, by the way, does not have any symptoms right now, but she does live with me, and at this point she has been exposed and will probably be tested soon. But we are both in quarantine now, so yeah. Love you guys. Stay safe. Stay home. Please stay home.